Good afternoon. Big week for us, culmination of a lot of work, really the culmination of work dating back to the spring in terms of this process, the acquisition of men, the training and teaching of those men, the evaluation of those men, the drafting of others, included in the same process, the rehabilitation of injured guys at the end of last season, on to the preparation and conditioning training and so forth into this season. So, we don't underscore where we are in this process. As a matter of fact, we've been working hard this week to highlight how important this week is, this game is versus Carolina. I've been here, I think, 12 seasons now, so you get a little perspective. Carolina's been our fourth preseason partner the whole time I've been here. And so I go back and I look at some of those games and I look at guys that, have made significant steps in that game to make a case for themselves and go on to not only making the team, but also they had a perspectives of careers that were developed based on things that happened in this game. So we've used historical video to illustrate that to guys. I understand the range of emotion in terms of guys working for positions and roles within this team. I want them to know that it's still very much in their control. I want them to be singular focused on this performance. I also want them to know that they're not alone. This is not something that's mystical, as many of their teammates have gone through the same process and utilized performances in this game as a springboard to their careers. We showed Antonio Brown covering a punt in 2010 in this game this morning, for example, in the team meeting. I'm excited about it on that level. I'm excited about watching these guys lean in at the tape and really put an exclamation point on what's been good work. But I'm also excited about transitioning toward the regular season. So all of those things are what this week is about for us. We got some division of labor, much like the other games. We'll leave the light on for those that are battling injury and won't exclude any of those guys from consideration until the 11th hour, so I don't have anything from an injury standpoint relative to participation. But there will be obviously selected veteran guys that won't play in this game. I'm less concerned about the guys that won't play and more concerned about the guys that do. Josh Dobbs will start this game at quarterback. It's been a good process for the quarterbacks. We've had 4 in camp. I think this will starting Josh will make it so that all 4 guys had an opportunity to start. All 4 represented themselves well. I'm excited about Josh playing in this game, Mason playing in this game. We'll see if Landry plays in this game. Other than that, man, it's going to be a very fundamental game for a lot of reasons. We want to put these guys in the position to perform and play fast and free. So we won't trick ourselves. And also you got to acknowledge we play these guys later in the year, and I'm sure that they acknowledge that element of it as well. Questions?
Mike, did you keep 4 quarterbacks on the 3-man roster?
Did I?
Could you keep 50? Yeah.
You're certainly capable of it. If you look at what happens in the National Football League, it's been done. But in today's NFL, 2 are probably kept more times than 4. So it's probably less, less frequent than 2 at this juncture.
Mike, in all that tape study you're doing, that historic tape study you were talking about, you're going back to the previous Carolina games. Are you finding yourself this year any more or less solid than what the roster is? There's just as many spots being fought for as you found in recent seasons?
I never try to compare. And you guys know that. You guys always ask me questions about anything this year relative to another year, and I try to remain singularly focused on this group, the development of this group, the evaluation of this group. So I hadn't noticed that because I hadn't looked for it.
Mike, is there is it to evaluate a player such as Marcus Allen, who's been hurt a lot during the preseason, based on what you know previously and what you've been able to see?
It's very difficult. The odds are stacked against them, but I also showed them examples of other men who the odds were stacked against. I showed them a video of Ross Ventrone covering a punt in the Carolina game, making a splash play, and I think Ross had missed 2 or 3 preseason games that year with a hamstring injury. But we got to a level of comfort with what we saw from him in that game that he made our 53-man roster, for example. So that's what I mean. It's a lot of unique cases of what seemingly are unique cases. They aren't unique. And so we're trying to show them examples of guys that have come through the other side of adversity, be it depth chart related things, growth and development related things, injury related things, what have you. This is an opportunity to put an exclamation point on your work.
Mike, you weren't happy with the punting at Green Bay. You used 2 punters last week. Is that an open job at all, or is that?
I have to be open to all jobs being open. I wouldn't take Matt to camp if I didn't think he was a guy that was under consideration. So, that's certainly the case. The reason he didn't punt in Green Bay, remember, he handled the kicking duties.
Because of injuries, are you starting to worry about the tight end group position?
I'm not. Particularly this time of year, one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. It's provided great learning opportunities and reps for the young guys. Like we maybe mentioned to you guys, Jesse's injury was minimal. He's back working yesterday and today, so I'm not.
With someone like P.J. Watt, would you prefer to see him in a preseason game, or does it not? You know nothing?
Again, I'll determine that at the 11th hour. Right now, we just focus on today's work. I'm not going to exclude any of those guys as I sit here. I'm not going to count any of those guys in. It's so much work between now and the game. It's just prudent to put them in an environment, watch them work, and not only the quality of that work, the length of that work, but the reaction to that work. So if it seems like I'm elusive, I am, because we've got 2 practices between now and game time, and so we'll execute those practices.
Mike, can you take us through after the game? How long does it take you to get the roster and get the final 53 set? Is it a few hours, a few days?
Kevin and I aren't paid by the hour. We don't punch a timer, man. The key is to make good, prudent decisions for this organization and put the best collection of men together that can help us pursue the world championship this year. So, sometimes, that has occurred in a number of hours. Sometimes that has developed into next week and up until the end of next week, in terms of acquiring players or moving and so forth. So we do whatever needs to be done. We don't overanalyze the amount of time it takes or the amount of work it takes.
Have coaches talked you into keeping specific players, or is it
Everybody gets an opportunity to express a voice, if that's what you're asking, certainly. We create an environment that's inclusive where opinions are valued, certainly.
Will you be able to get Switzer on the field Thursday? And even though it wasn't your camp, has he had enough camp in preseason in Oakland to perhaps be a participant for week 1?
It's our intentions to get him on the field on Thursday. We'll see what these next 2 practices look like, and then what goes beyond that, we'll let the dominoes fall and see how this week goes. But our intentions are to play him on Thursday, but we'll wait and see what these 2 practices look like. The guy's getting off a red eye, et cetera. So let's see how it goes.
What kind of transition is that, the degree of difficulty going from one return game to another?
And that guy's been a returner all his life. I'd imagine it's like breathing or swimming, or riding a bike. I don't imagine it'd be really significant.
How did Antonio do on his punt coverage?
It was a fair catch. He used the speed release that we've all become familiar with. He got down the field and forced a fair catch.
Has Stephen Ridley not played as much in the preseason, in part because you have seen him on game tape last year?
He's missed some time due to injury.
Anyone else?
Like how much, when you're comparing what a guy does in this 4th preseason game versus what they've done that you've seen in OTAs, minicamp, training camp, how much can their performance on Thursday night impact those decisions?
It's a final exam. It's weighted. It is because you want to see how they perform under duress or anxiety or pressure, because that's reflective of this journey we're about to get on. That is a regular season. So I don't mind drawing them all in, telling them how important this game is, because it is, and seeing how they perform knowing all of that. I think you're learning a little bit about them in the midst of that, and that's okay.
Mike, Ben said his arm's felt better than it has in a while, using less ice packs and things like that. How does that affect your practice plan for him over the course of 5 or 6 weeks?
It is and has been very fluid. We're open to doing what is needed to make sure he's in the top physical condition that he can be in, stepping into a stadium and still be prepared. So that's a very fluid process that that includes dialogue, obviously, and it's been very good dialogue, and I don't imagine our approach changing.